the book consists of you looking at one example after another of versions of this phenomenon, of ways in which we are being profoundly influenced by things in our environment. And I'm curious whether those do most of the other things you talk about fit that same pattern, that they have some mixture or some unknown and some mixture of physiological and kind of psychological origins.
Yeah, I think a lot of the effects are based on association. So that we associate whatever that cue is with some outcome or some other concept, and then that influences us in a way that's congruent with that. A lot of the effects are also biological or physiological. So the weather is a good example. People argue that the color red is a combination. So when we see people wearing red, or when we see someone with a flushed red face, we imagine that they're sexually interested. And so that leads us to be more attracted to them. So if you have someone on a dating website changing the color of their shirt, but otherwise with an identical photo across time, they'll attract many more hits on the dating website when they wear red than any of the other colors. So the argument there is that that red reminds you of the flush of blood that comes to someone's face when they're interested, but you associate that then with their being interested. So there's a physiological component as well.
I was curious of all of the, so you give on one of the kind of great things about the book is just how many different corners of the world you explore with this idea. I'm curious, which of all of the variety of versions of this effect do you find the most striking, unexpected? Is there one that kind of has always stuck in your head?
There are a few that really strike me. It's like asking me to choose among my children, because I love these effects like they're my children. I think some of the reason I hesitate is because some of my favorite effects are name related, and I've done a lot of research on names. So we found that people rise up the legal hierarchy in a law firm more quickly when you can pronounce their names more easily. We found that when you release a stock on the stock market, the ones that have names that are pronounceable or easy to pronounce tend to do better in the first week of trading. The reason I hesitate, I think these effects are fascinating, but there are some other name effects that recently have received a lot of attention in psychology, and people question whether they're real. So I'm a little bit concerned about just focusing on the name effects. If we go to the other end of the spectrum, those are the very narrow effects, the small cues that reside in our heads. That's the way I put it in the book. But at the other end of the spectrum, there are big cues, very big physical cues that are all surrounding. And I think the effects of nature on behavior, cognition, on how we feel and think and react to all sorts of stresses, I think those effects are phenomenal, profound, and very powerful. And I think they are very robust.